What is holding you back
from accomplishing the out-of-body experience? Here's what I did to figure out what was stopping me and how to get rid of it.
So I finally did an out-of-body experience for the first time on purpose. The first one was not on purpose. The second one on purpose, but it took a long time. And I'm going to share about what I did to figure out what was holding me back. And hopefully this can help you too. So I learned the process, but then night would come and I was too afraid. And just be like, nope, it's dark now and I don't feel like doing this, even though all day I'm thinking, I can't wait to do this. Well, I ended up finding a really cool video on YouTube that I will share with you by Jonathan Parker. And it was like a guided meditation that I did with my eyes open. I just followed along with him to release fear. And the very next night, I had my next out of body experience. So for me, it was not the fear of death. It was the fear of the dark, really. It was the fear of the unknown. And it was the fear of things behind me, which I didn't even realize that was like a thing until I was going through his guided meditation. It was really good. It's not even specifically for out of body experiences at all. It's just a releasing of fear, guided prayer like meditation. I could feel, like, as I was going through it, I could feel energy shifting. And he also like guides you in a way that helps you find what it is that you need to release. And so it was during the guided meditation that I realized that I have a fear of what's behind me. I even remembered and recalled when I developed that fear, and I was like, I don't know, 10 years old at a sleepover. So I got that memory. I I thanked the fear for being there to protect me. But then I said, I don't need you anymore, and I release you. And I don't, you can leave now. And then I replace that energy with bright, loving light. And I went through this several times for each fear that I addressed, and I could feel the energy shifting. Like I felt energy like leaving my leg. It was strange. And then my back and just different parts like that. And that first night wasn't a good night to do it. You know, we're busy the next day, needed to get good sleep. But the very next night, I had my first on purpose out of body experience. And even though it didn't last long and I didn't get very far, it's progress. And I was so excited. Maybe I was too excited. Maybe that's why I couldn't get too far. But actually, it was because my husband was tossing and turning and woke me up. And so that's another issue. Like, to be able to do this when you're alone is so much easier. So let me start from the beginning. I really think that I'm more of a writer when it comes to this, but people like to consume videos. I know I do. I'm way too tired at the beginning of the night. So I let myself go to sleep. And then I actually woke up at 2 a.m. with a little bit of a sore throat. My daughter wasn't feeling good. And so I was like, shoot, I better get up and gargle some salt water. So I did that. And I even listened to a video while I was doing it. Stop saying by Nelson J. Castile, who has out of body experiences all the time, but also his like Christian spiritual background. He's not as Christian anymore because of his out of body experiences. He has a fully like different view on everything, but he has relationships with the royal family of heaven is what he calls it. But it's really God and the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ and the heavenly realms entities. So I really like his videos and was listening to one about real repentance. It means to return to who you really are. You are God. or at least a part of God. I'm just going to keep looking at my notes to make sure that I get everything in, because I'm trying to be extremely transparent on this journey, and I don't want to leave anything out. So I went back to bed with the germs killed, feeling better. I felt better the next day. And I went back to bed with the mantra, I am God. I am the light of the world. It was the most peace I've felt around the idea of an intentional OBE to date. I had some visions that led to some insights, and then I left it out. The first vision I had was of a piece of my bone broken. And then I thought, so when I get these visions, it's different from me thinking about stuff. It's like my mind is blank, and then an image pops into my head, and I'm like, where did that come from? So I've learned to take these as messages from wherever, my higher self, from God, I don't know, but I've learned to listen to them. And so, is this a little message saying, like, to just put that away, stop before it does break? I don't want it to break. But it definitely, like, was a bad habit before. It was okay, not bad, but it was a crutch. I couldn't go to sleep without it. I would need it to go to sleep at night. That was the only time I did it. But that's completely gone. So I'm really thankful for that. But also it dysregulates your sleep patterns. And if I really want to, do this out of body thing, I need to break that habit and create a new one. So I did that, but full disclosure, I did smoke weed that day that I had this out of body experience. But again, I didn't attempt to do it right when I went to sleep. I attempted to do it at like 3 a.m. when I woke up and then went back to sleep.
There is something I forgot to say in my recording, so I wanted to just pop in real quick and say that yeah, I did have a successful out-of-body experience the same night after smoking weed before I fell asleep. However, it wasn't as clear as my first one when I had been abstaining for a month from weed. It was a little bit, it was all really quick too, but it just didn't, and I don't know if it's, I wasn't in sleep paralysis. I'm not sure. I just want to be fully transparent with everything about this process. It's like I'm experimenting, I'm new, and I'm just trying to figure it out and trying to record everything like a scientist, I guess. So, but I do want to see what it's like when that isn't in my system at all, and if it does make it more clear. So yes, it's still possible, but can it be better?
The second image that popped into my head was of my daughter not looking up from her device to interact with me. And I felt like, is that what I am doing with God? That vision, it just felt like, is that what I'm doing? Like, I'm just consuming too much content and not being quiet in the presence of God. So they had those two quick visions, and then I lifted off. Like, it wasn't a sleep paralysis thing. It was a completely different experience. And it was really quick after laying down. There were the vibrations, and I lifted off. And I was really concerned because we have shelves along the right side of the bed, and I sleep on the right side of the bed. And so I wouldn't have been able, like, I don't know, just thinking the way it happened before, I was like, shoot, I'm not going to be able to roll to the side. Like, that's one of those things, where I'm just like a kind of a control freak and worried about the unknown. Well, this was one of the unknowns that was bothering me. Like, how am I going to get out of my body. And what's amazing about how quickly you manifest when you're out of the body, as soon as I lifted out, I was swept out and onto my feet in front of the bed because that's what I wanted to happen. And it was like just instant. And so, because of that exiting method, I knew I didn't have to look back and see if I was in the bed. I knew that I was in the out of body experience because of the way that I exited so swiftly. Wouldn't be able to do that in the flesh body. Gosh, this must just sound so weird. Like me 1 year ago listening to a video like this, I would think it's just crazy. It's like, it's just crazy. Moving on from crazy. New reality. I'm instantly hearing this voice mumbling in my ear, and it's the voice of Nelson J. Castile that I was just listening to a video of. And I couldn't make out the words, but it was definitely his voice. And I thought, oh, maybe I left my phone playing next to my head and I can still hear it as I'm walking out of the room. Like it just followed me. So I assumed that that's what was happening and I ignored it. But the whole time I'm hearing his voice just mumbling in my ear. And I've heard of like when you have or you've been watching or consuming a lot of content, you can see those images in the out of body. It turns out this was something like that, except it was the sound I was hearing. I was hearing it. So, anyways, I was really curious about getting outside. And for some reason, I was walking through the house instead of just shortcutting through the wall. But I walked out of the room through the door instead of opening it, down the hallway. I turned to look at the living room. It's bright and beautiful, even though all the lights are out and I know it's dark and I don't have a white couch, but the couch was white. And then I could feel my husband tossing and turning in the bed. And that instantly pulled me back um, into my body. And um, once I was back in my body, the voice stopped, but I could hear the AC and I couldn't tell if I was affecting the electrical signals or if I was just hearing it differently, but it sounded so different. It sounded very just staticky. There was a different staticky sound coming from our AC. And my husband is still tossing and turning a lot. And I'm just kind of waiting around, um, just observing. And I'm observing that AC sound. And then he finally stops tossing and turning. I was like, what the heck is he? Why is he moving so much? And then it clicked back into place. And this is interesting. I didn't feel this the first time. It was like my soul or spirit or whatever clicked back into my body. And I could feel it like snap all the way down the back of my body, like a clicky snap. And when that happened, the AC sounded normal again. So it was like I was hearing out of my normal ears again. Um, Super interesting. I was just really, really thankful for the progress. So let me see what else there is that I'm going to share really quick. Oh, yeah. So then I look around for my phone. It's not even in the room. So the voice was just stuck in my head still from listening to it right before I had the out of body experience, I guess. I don't know, but it's interesting. Like, it's interesting how what we consume really does affect us deeper than we know. So if you've been trying to do this and you're struggling to make it happen, it's really about being honest with yourself. You know, really looking within and seeing what is it. And I'm going to link to the guided meditation that I did to help release fears in a really, really great way. Like when I was done with it, I said, it is done. Like I said it, and my intention, I just accepted as true. And it was. And it's been a month and I don't feel any fear towards the subject at all, but I've been extremely busy. And it makes me wonder, like business wise, I've been really busy and family, and it was the holidays, but, um, you know, I'm going to go back to my religious background again, but the Bible verse, like, if you seek first the kingdom of heaven, everything else will be added to you. And I feel like is kind of happening because this is what I really like. If all this was all I could do, I would do it. But, reality check. But this is what I think about the most. And yet my business is thriving and keeping me busy. And then there's the family stuff. So since this happened, I haven't even really been able to try and do it again as much as I want to. So I'm just trying to let myself be patient. I'm still having amazing dreams, and I'll probably just do a video on dreams because and just the spiritual gift activations that kind of are happening alongside this. And there must be something to the out of body experience and activating your spiritual gifts or your spiritual DNA, as I've heard people call it. DNA that was asleep and is waking up. Yeah, I've always had the prophetic type dreams, but not as often as I am now. And I love it. I love it so much. And I journal about it, and I should just do a video about it. Anyways, let me know what you think about all of this. And what do you think about my background? With all little fishies in here now. We had a puffer fish in here, but he was getting too big for this tank even. And so we had to give him to a freshwater pond that he could live in. By give, I mean sell. We sold him. I just got to get used to talking on camera because this feels so ridiculous to me. But I really, really want to share what I'm going through with like-minded people. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think and what you're going through. And I will see you on the next one.